All right, we'll go ahead with some pre-race media availability for us here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series for this evening's Subway Jalapeno 250, and we're joined right now by Danica Patrick. She does drive the number 7 GoDaddy.com NASCAR Unites American Salute Chevrolet for Junior Motorsports. Currently 9th in the points. Last year in this race, Danica, a 10th place finish and a little bit of an exciting finish for you. Turned around and won that pole for the season opener. Daytona is the one track, I think, in your stock car career that you've driven the most on. Yep. So good familiarity here. So talk about how things may go for you here this evening.
Practice was pretty good. I don't think anyone ran too many laps and spent too much time out there. Felt bad watching the broadcast crew put the time together when everybody was sitting in their buses. But you know, practice went fine. I was just basically working with my teammate Cole, and we were working on bump drafting and checking on how our cooling systems were working, and just getting comfortable with the swaps again. But beyond that, I think that all you do is risk damaging your car being out there. So we kept it to a minimum and did about 24 laps and called it a day. But I think it's going to be pretty good. I think it's Tony Jr. and everybody at Junior Motorsports always builds really fast speedway cars. So I don't think speed's going to be a problem.
Daytona always has an element of excitement around it regardless, but the second half of our season kicks off with maybe just a little more excitement too, with the Dash for Cash opportunity, where 4 drivers, driver championship contenders rather, the top 4 finishers will qualify for $100K at New Hampshire. What do you think about that?
It's, you know, Nationwide Insurance put some serious money up for this Dash for Cash for sure, and it adds an extra oomph. I don't think it's one of those things that you necessarily think of when you're out there, but maybe at the end you might sort of, that thought might come to mind. But it's definitely one of those things when it's over with, and if you found out you're in it, that that you have a chance to win $100 grand the next weekend, that you get pretty darn excited, and it's a cool promotion. So hopefully we can be, I'd like to be first overall, but first in the nationwide drivers would obviously be good going in the next 4 races.
Make sure you check for bananas before you start. Right?
I think the bananas might be detrimental to my performance in my car. So
exactly.
And banana peels on the track. I don't know if they did anything with that, but definitely in the exhaust, it's probably not ideal.
We'll watch for extra debris tonight. If you have questions for Danica, of course, let us know. We'll bring the wireless mic to you. We'll start over here with Mark and then go beyond the bend.
T-Codas from Motorsports Unplugged. Danica, what was the best advice you've ever received for dealing with all of us? Who gave it to you, and what was it? And how long did it take you to develop this thick skin that you've developed over the years? Thank you.
Well, I think I get my thick skin from being around it all the time. I've been lucky enough to be one of those people that's been on TV from a young age. I remember being 14 years old in high school, and I had ABC filming me in the hallways of my high school, and then MTV came and filmed me at my high school. And it's something I just have always been around. And actually, a sponsor paid for me to go to the Dale Carnegie speaking course when I was young. And I'm telling you, I brought the average age of that room down a lot. I was by far the youngest, and I think I was about 14 when I did it. And it wasn't exactly an enjoyable experience then, but definitely all those kinds of things contribute to getting comfortable in front of people. And I think there was 2 things said that are important. You know, one is that you need to answer questions like it's the first time you've ever heard them. And another one is, and this is more my perspective, is that you're not going to ask me any questions I don't have the answers to. So I think it's far worse to be in your position than my position, because I'm just answering your questions about my life, and you're coming up with questions. And so I think it's more difficult from that perspective. I'm just giving you the answers. I encourage you to make it more difficult. I know everybody else in my camp probably wouldn't want me to say that, but I like tough questions. I don't mind. I'll answer them as best as I can, and I'm sure you've seen me sometimes. I have slightly smart-assy answers, but especially if you haven't done your homework. But you know, I got the mic.
Danica, Ben White with the Lexington Dispatch. I'm right here. Just a question about, you do a really nice job on all these commercials that you do for television.
Thanks.
Does that take a lot of time away from you? And you seem very comfortable. Have you ever had any acting classes or any of that kind of stuff?
Again, that's one of those things that comes through practice and just being around it. I did, when I did some work for Spike TV back a good few years ago. I hosted a show called Power Block for them when their network first started, when it went from TNN to Spike. And they did send me to some speaking courses with this crazy lady from New York in her loft, and she said to look into the lens, and she's like, act like you're talking to little Timmy on the couch at home. And I was like, that's kind of funny, because when you look at the lens and treat it like a person, you have physical, your face moves more, and smile when you talk and things like that, which I'm not very good at. But the commercials are just things that through experience. And I've even heard over the time that, especially that I've been with GoDaddy, how, not only just from Bob Parsons himself, he's told me this, but other people's, that they've been very complimentary and said that I've come a long way and that I'm so much better at these commercials. And, that's a nice thing to hear. And obviously that's only in recent times. So, again, I have lots of great partners that run commercials, and I get to do a lot of practice. And to be honest, I'm actually more interested in the behind the camera position than in front of the camera. In front of the camera, you just stand around and then, okay, give your line, and you get a two-shot 2 or 3 times, and then they try and get the camera right, and it's all about lighting. And I'm more interested in kind of the delivery and what it looks like from behind the camera, because that's kind of all that matters.
Okay, let's start our way around the room. Let's go with George, Bob, come down to Holly, and go over to Reed.
Danica, back here. George Diaz with the Orlando Sentinel. Kind of doing a little quirky thing on the Cola Wars. So obviously it's a very intense market, and when you
the what?
The Cola Wars, like Coca-Cola versus
Pepsi.
the
Cola Wars.
Yeah,
I was like, look, I am not in politics.
No,
I have no idea.
You said you could answer any
I don't know the difference
question.
between one country and the other out there.
Cola,
Okay.
C-O-L-A. So obviously,
The soda wars.
You became affiliated with the Coke brand a few months ago.
Or Pop, where I came from.
Pop, that's right. When you do such a thing, I mean, do you have to disavow any knowledge of, the other brand, if you will? Does it become something?
Is there any other brand
Probably good.
other than Coca-Cola and Coke Zero?
No. So, no, seriously, is it something that you're told not to mention other brands type of thing, or do they just
whenever
you promote your own?
When you represent a product, you obviously, that's your product. And I've been lucky enough, again, that I've been able to work with companies that I actually do use or drink or take or have or watch. And so, and it makes the relationship a lot more authentic and real. And, but I mean, in my situation, obviously right now driving for Junior Motorsports, Dale Jr. is a Pepsi guy. And so we have to sort of bridge that gap at this point in time between the nationwide races with Junior Motorsports and obviously them being able to do the Cup races with Stuart Haas, and then being able to hold Coke products there and have them. So, there's everybody's really understanding, but it's yeah. When they're your sponsor, they're the only one that exists. They're the best.
Bob Pockris, Sporting News. With Ricky's Stenhouse's announcement last week that he'll be going Cup racing, it looks like you and him could be facing off for Rookie of the Year next year. What do you think about that? And do you think he'll ask for there to be weekly events with the 2 rookie candidates so he could hang out with you more?
Sure, that's fine. I get along with them great. If we want to do press conferences every weekend together, we can do that. It's probably going to make it more entertaining. Ricky, if Cup racing is what I'm doing next year, which is, what the plan is, hopefully we can make that happen. Obviously, that's going to be one of those things we're both going to want Rookie of the Year. And he's so kind, polite, and helpful. I can't imagine that would change, but I guess you'll have to ask him.
Let's go ahead with Holly. Get a chance.
Danica, you've already completed as many races just about this year as you would in a full IndyCar season. I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on this being one, part of the transition is that it's going to be twice as long a season for you. And just, how's that been?
It is kind of amazing, I guess, that to think that I don't even notice that it's already been half the year yet. It does go quick. I like racing every weekend, actually. I feel like a weekend off makes me feel like I've been away for a really long time, even though that's what I was used to in IndyCar very much of the time. I enjoy the schedule, and to be honest, it's everything else that keeps me really busy. It's the stuff outside of the car that gets a little relentless at times. And what was it about? Just sorry, my opinion on kind of how it's going and how I feel about it. Yeah, I feel good, and I think that the last 2 years served as a really good sort of starting ground for a busier schedule. I mean, I did 30 races the last 2 years, and I'll be doing 34 weekends. I'll be doing about 44 races, but 34 weekends, and so it's not that much more. So I feel like it's been a good transition, and I feel good.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire Service. Speaking of schedule, you've got a long period of time between Cup races at this point in the schedule. Are you getting any work in the Cup car during any off time at all? And have you decided what the TBD races are in your Cup schedule so far this year?
No, we haven't announced the last 10th race and where that's going to be. But yeah, I think we're going testing next week. So that'll be good to get back in the Cup car. I think we're going to a short track. So that'll be good for me because I haven't been to one in a Cup car. And I'm sure, just like every other track, you get to the corner a lot faster. You got to slow down more and you get going a lot quicker. So I'm sure it's going to be a handful. But we try and do as much testing as possible, but obviously realizing that Stewart Haas is in the middle of their Cup season too and trying to win another championship.
Okay, we'll go to Dinah, then we'll come over to Jim Noble and Jeff Gluck, please.
Hi, Danica. Dinah Pulver with the Daytona Beach News Journal. I'm back here. What can you tell us about what your role will be in the Inside Out campaign for GoDaddy, and then what your role may be in future GoDaddy commercials? You said you are looking forward to some humorous roles in these commercials.
I don't know what the Inside Out campaign is. I'm looking over to my team here for, we don't know. We don't know what that is. So tell me, please. You've got the inside scoop, apparently.
GoDaddy has said that they're launching a set of commercials, I guess, for the Olympics, and it's called the Inside Out.
Oh, yeah, I'm not in them.
But they said you had a role. They said you had some role in the Inside Out campaign, so I guess you don't.
I'll take it if they want me to be in there, but I don't think I was never in the plans for any of the Olympic commercials. I know that we shot some stills at the end of last year that we're going to run in the underground tube system in London, and so I believe those are already there. They've been there a while, and but no plans for the Inside Out. I will wait with bated breath like all of the rest of us that care. And but I don't know when the next commercial we're going to shoot is. The last stuff we did was just at the beginning of May for the Indy 500 and the Coke 600 weekend, and so there's nothing on the schedule right now. This is definitely the dullest time of the year for shooting stuff for us. Usually it happens in the winter and spring. So yeah, I'll let you know when I know.